As I was trying to decide on a topic for my first video, I was thinking about the goals I listed in my channel introduction. I want to document the thousands of small quirks that add up to make vanilla such an interesting game. I want to showcase how the meta has never stopped evolving for 14 years. I want to provide beginner-friendly tutorials, and I also want to dive into more advanced PvP mechanics. I wanted my first video to touch on all of these concepts, so I decided to go with an overview of the most quintessentially vanilla item of all time, Skull of Impending Doom. It is a green level 44 quest reward that happens to be one of the best PvP items in the entire game. Skull of Impending Doom is a great example of the hidden layers of complexity that exist in vanilla PvP. This complexity won't always be visible in a casual battleground because the classes themselves are extremely simple. But a match between two skilled premates features an astounding amount of potion and engineering usage, as well as items like Skull of Impending Doom. In a competitive battleground, the game basically revolves around consumables and extra gadgets like these. The simple part of Skull is that it provides you with a short movement speed increase at the cost of health and mana, which can come in handy for situations when you need to escape or create distance. But dig a little deeper and you'll see that you can actually use this item to break CC effects with the self-damage. Skull can prevent you from being sapped or rocket-helmed, as well as break Polymorph, Scattershot, Freezing Trap, Seduce, Gouge, Blind, and probably a few other abilities I'm forgetting. Skull is a game-changing item that is high risk, high reward, and will take your skill cap to the next level. And it's a level 44 quest green. The weirdness of that is probably the most vanilla thing ever. Skull is also a perfect showcase of how much differently people play vanilla in 2018 than they did in 2004. The only guys that were sculling CC in 2004 were absolute legends like Vertune and Swifty, seen here. Most average players back then viewed this as an exploit. By the time early private servers like Scriptcraft and Phoenix came around, most of the top players were typically using Skull. But today, in 2018, any PvPer worth their weight in salt has this item keybound. It's an integral part of the game that was literally invented by the players. Seriously, how cool is that? First, I'm going to show you guys how to get this item. Quest walkthroughs are boring as hell, let's be honest, so I'm going to make this quick. I'll include links to the database pages for the quests in the video description, so don't feel like you have to keep up. We'll start off in the southern Badlands. Right about here, you're going to find this guy named Theldurin the Lost. He's going to give you a quest called Solution to Doom. Go up to northern Badlands and find the entrance to Uldaman, go into the cave, and make your way through it until you get to this room called the Sealed Hall. You're going to want to loot this chest, Ancient Chest, and that will give you the item that you need. Bring that back to Theldurin, and then he'll give you a follow-up quest which takes you to Ironforge. Go to the back of the Forlorn Cavern in Ironforge and talk to this dude here. He's going to give you another quest called the Star, the Hand, and the Heart. This one is a little bit annoying, and it's going to kind of take you all over the place, but we'll start in Alterac with an elite that Pat's right here. Kill him to get the first item that you need. There are 3 total, and all 3 of them are dropped by elites. This is easily soloable at 60, but if you want to do it in your mid-40s or even the 50s, you will need a group. Second guy's in Stranglethorn Vale right here, and the third one you have to actually summon. You go to these islands in northern Duskwallow Marsh and kill these murlocs until you get a drop called Enchanted Sea Kelp. Only the Myrefin oracles can drop it, and sometimes the rate kind of sucks, but once you get it, you use it at the altar to summon this bad boy, and he will give you the third and final item. Bring those back to Ironforge, and then get the final chain of the quest to go back to Badlands and get your Skull of Impending Doom. Grats, you did it. Oh yeah, and the best part about this item, it makes a chicken emote when you use it. Some serious meme potential here. If you're new to using this item, I would recommend first practicing using it on Seduce and Polymorph. These 2 abilities are both pretty easy to skull because they have cast times. Sculling a Hunter Trap, like you saw Swifty do in that clip earlier, is also pretty simple and straightforward. Sculling blinds and rocket helms and other instant casts like that requires fairly advanced game sense and prediction skills, but if you put in the effort and practice, you'll be there in no time. Alright, so in terms of the more advanced stuff, the way I see it, there are 2 main ways to skull a blind or an instant cast. You either need to read your opponent's movement or make a situational prediction. I'll try to show you guys what I mean by those 2 things right here. So this first one is going to be more of a movement read. I'm dueling a rogue here. I've got him in a sheep, and what I'm actually going to do is start casting a pyroblast to bait him into trinketing there. So he trinkets there, and then I counterspell him so he can't re-stealth and re-sheep him. So that's just a free cooldown that he's burned that's to my advantage. So then I'm going to open here, and this is where the movement read happens. I open on him with a pyroblast. I know he doesn't have a trinket, so I cast a full pyro. I hit him here. I get a rank 1 frostbolt on him, and then he is running straight at me. He's not stopping, and I see that he's running straight at me. So I'm continuing this cast because I'm pretty sure I have time to get this cast off before he can blind. But as soon as I finish my cast, I'm going to pop Skull right here. And you see I barely got that one. So I got the Skull debuff, the Flea, milliseconds before his blind went off. So it was really risky there for me to finish that cast, but it was a close call. So again, he burns his trinket there, I get him resheeped, and then when I open, he's just bolting straight at me. I know he's coming at me to blind me, and that's why I skull there. Okay, so this example is going to be more of a situational prediction. In this example, I'm running into the flag room. I know that there's a warrior here. I suspect / assume that there is a rogue here. But I have zero information in terms of what cooldowns they have or anything like that. I don't even really know this warrior's position because here the Horde team has the flag, and I'm trying to rush in here and get a pick. So this guy could be in the flag room. He could be roof. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually fire spec in this clip, so I don't have ice barrier, and I'm going to jump in. I'm going to counterspell the warrior to try and get him in combat. It's not going to do much for me because he's right under me. Rogue's going to open on me. It's not looking good. So again, I have no information here. These guys haven't used any cooldowns. I'm already getting low. Again, I'm fire spec here, so I'm going to pop an invulnerability potion here. That makes me immune to melee. I'm going to get the sheep off as a result. And so here is where the situational prediction happens. So I'm still immune to melee for another couple of seconds, and I've got the warrior polyed. So right now, the only tool that this rogue has that can really do anything to me would be blind. That's really all he's got at this point to stop me or slow me down at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to escape artist out of this hamstring and then just pop my skull, because again, it's a situational read. I know that the only option that this guy has to stop me is to blind me, and so I'm going to pop it before I pick the flag. Sure enough, there's the blind, and he kidney shots me, but once I've got my speeds up and I still have blink, I'm gone. So that's a situational one. There, I wasn't watching their movement. I didn't know what cooldowns they had. I didn't have a lot of information, but I, just sort of read the situation. With the invuln pot, the only option he has is to blind me, so Skull's gonna get me the flag pick. Okay, so one last example here. This one's gonna be kind of a combination of a movement read and a situational prediction. Another duel against a rogue. He's gonna cheap shot me, I'm gonna blink, and I'm gonna get that blink off before he gets a crippling poison proc. That's what's really important here in terms of the situation, is that I got the blink off before I got slowed. So he's chasing me here. I'm going to get a rank 1 cone of cold right there, and that changes the situation drastically because now he's slowed and I'm not. So right here, his only real option is to blind me or use a grenade because he's slowed and I'm not. If he doesn't do one of those two things, then in 2 seconds I'm going to be 30 yards away, lighting him up, and he's going to have to burn a vanish. So logically, right now, his only real choices to keep a decent position and sort of close the space a little bit are to blind me or nade me. So as soon as I get that cone of cold on him, I'm going to pop a skull here because I know he has to blind. So it's really just kind of a matter of using the information you have to deduce what options your opponent has, and then reading their movement, reading their playstyle. What does it look like they're doing? What does it look like they're trying to do next? And that's really the type of game sense you have to develop to be able to skull the instant casts, and that just comes with playing a ton of hours of vanilla PvP. So the last really important thing to note about Skull is that obviously it can kill you. So you need to have a keybind to quickly remove the debuff from yourself that's causing the damage. A lot of people like to just make a keybind for Furbolg Medicine Pouch, which is this item. It's another very good vanilla PvP offhand that we'll talk about more in a later video. But a lot of people like to just bind this item, or their damage offhand, or whatever it might be, and they just use that keybind to unequip the skull to remove the buff. This is really not good enough because good players will usually counter your skull with some kind of stun or something that takes away your mobility and forces you to continue eating the damage. So when you're stunned, you're not going to be able to unequip it, and you need a macro to actually cancel the aura. So what you want to use is something like this. It's just /unbuff flee is the only line that really matters. This full macro, the way it works is on your first key press, it uses the skull, and then on the second press, it'll cancel the aura. I'll include that macro in the video description. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good time playing Vanilla WoW.